Anvil was one of those bands that just put on this really amazing live performance.
They're a great band, yeah. I always liked Anvil.
In the summer of 1984, Anvil toured the world with the biggest bands in rock.
These guys are going to turn the music world upside down.
All of them sold millions of records around the world. All of them, but one.
One thing that's really good, man, is that we found those sleeping bags. This is where we learned how to play.
Yeah. We're like brothers.
We were just innocent kids. We didn't really know what we were doing.
Crappy productions, crappy management.
My name is Tiziana Rigoni, manager at Anvil.
It looks like she's booked us a tour. England, Belgium, Germany. This is going to be the biggest tour I've done in 20 years. When I work at Choice Children's Catering, they don't know that my band even exists.
Welcome to Romania.
The place is jam-packed.
Given your reputation, you should be playing in front of 1,000 people every night, and you are not.
We missed our train. Hi. It's so unprofessional what we are going through. Who's the guy that's supposed to pay me? It's been nothing but a nightmare.
It's over. It's been over for a long time.
It's so unfair to Anvil. It's so unfair to Anvil.
I stayed dedicated to what?
Rob, I don't want to fight with you. Who's the closest person I got in the world? I started out with Rob when I was 14 years old, and we said, we're going to do it till we're old men. We really meant that.
They should have made it a lot bigger.
I think even he knows at the end of the day, the family is what's important.
I always believe that no matter how hard it gets, there's always a way.
Let's show the world that they're wrong.
We're gonna do it together. We're gonna get there. We're gonna be rock stars. It's a dream, but I'm gonna make it come true. So there's cliffs I can go jump off. That's the easy way.
Well, no, you won't jump off the cliff because I'll stop you.
That's dedication, pal.
I was recording. Sorry, I wasn't recording. What was that? Say that again. The question was to Steve, and thank you to the publicist, by the way, because I was so caught up again that I didn't hit record. So I'm hell bent on fucking this up. But so Sacha, you also
That's very Anvilian.
It's an Anvil move, yeah.
Yeah, it's like last night at the screening. Briefly, the movie started without Steve-O's intro, and we had to stop the movie. And the movie was stopped on this freeze frame of Lips's giant face in front of 1,200 people, like smiling his crazy smile. Everyone thought it was like a Jackass style stunt, but it was actually not. But people think you did that on purpose, right? We're like, we did not do that on purpose.
This was the when was this one? This was during the same night? Oh, last night.
Yeah.
What was last night?
We did a West Coast premiere. We did Peter Dinklage last week in New York.
Oh.
And then we had this thing called the Anvil Experience. So the movie showed to 1,200 people, all showed up, all ages. Everyone from Matt Bellamy of Muse to Dustin Hoffman. I mean, it was crazy. Dustin Hoffman came.
When we get to Miami, you can't call me Racho. You got to call me Rico. Trying to get these guys interested.
So basically, we played the movie, and then the band came out at the end of the movie and rocked the house. And then we did a little Q&A with Steve-O. And people were just like, it was such a crazy night last night.
Excellent. Except for that Steve-O was late.
Yeah, Steve-O, the whole thing was just a chaotic Anvilian mess. But that was the beauty of it too.
Steve, okay, so Lips, Rob, tell me also, like, since we last talked, like, what was it, about a week and a half ago or something? What was your what?
I don't know. I'm going. Yeah, last week.
Yeah. How was that Peter Dinklage screening in New York City for you guys? Is it all a blur? Is it becoming kind of a blur? Because you guys are doing a lot of promotion.
Oh, it was great. Just like Sacha said, the place is packed. And the people, we gave the movie a standing ovation. It was mostly new people that were there. And they were fucking excited about it all.
Awesome. Very awesome. Steve, what is it like having these
It all over again. It's all over again.
deja vu?
It's still just as the movie has got the same effect today as it did 13 years ago. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
It hasn't lost.
What are the people?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What are the folks? They probably like after the screening, right? Are you guys there to and talking to people in the theater in the lobby? And what it is it kind of the same as it was 13 years ago after the screenings, or is it?
Was last night. I talked to a lot of people. A lot of the same as it was before. Most people went.
The difference is that most of the audience last night, even also in LA, had not seen the movie before.
Right.
And all these kids showed up.
Nice.
And people like, well, what's going on? So I talked to these kids and they're like, we've been through 2-3 years of lockdown hell. And, we're depressed and we've just missed our friends and hanging out. And this is a hopeful, inspiring story. And that's the thing that seems to be resonating with these kids who've never heard of Anvil, the band or the film. They were all 3 or 4 years old when it came out the first time. That's the most gratifying part is that.
So do you think they're folks?
Yeah.
Do you think they're folks still? I mean, or they're just like, have heard over the years, the reputation of the film. Also, of course, you guys are out there playing. So, I mean, it's probably a combination of things, but that.
Well, for example,
just damn good publicity.
Like Matt Bellamy, the lead singer of Muse, he was a fan back in the day, really before Muse became famous. He related to the movie. He brought his 11-year-old kid.
Right.
So it's fathers bringing their sons, it's older brothers telling their younger brothers. It's just a new generation because everyone who experienced the first time round, is in a totally different place in life. They're looking at it. They're not in their 20s anymore. They're looking at this from the perspective of being in their 30s or 40s. And so when you see this movie, it has a completely different meaning that I think that the older you get, actually. And to have these young kids responding to this theme of perseverance and not giving up after what we've been through for the last few years, is the most unexpected part. Because we thought the old fans would come back and bring their younger brothers, but we didn't expect these new people to show up. And that's why Utopia is such a brilliant company, because they've been marketing to this young audience. And
they must have figured that this film would be able to do what you're saying, connect to newer audiences, and that's why they got on board, I am assuming. Yeah. And these two mensches that are in the hotel room having dinner, or probably breakfast, knowing them. It's fine. I don't know.
They're having a late 11s or lunch.
Okay. Well, I said for those who are watching, we recorded a session a few days back, and it got somehow through no one's fault, it was lost to the ether. But so I had expressed going into it when I first saw these faces, and this, I was really, really excited, as I still am, and very moved because I had just watched the documentary again, got all teary and verklempt again, seeing the movie again. I'm throwing in as much Yiddish as I can. But
do you know, Adam, that the movie was nearly called Metal in the Shtetl?
Metal Shtetl?
Metal in the Shtetl.
Oh, in the Shtetl. That's a great name.
Was a title for the movie, and we just thought, okay, we'll let people discover the Jewish aspect rather than label it that. But yeah, that was an early title for the film because of this unexpected backstory.
Yeah, well, when I saw it back in 2009, guys, I was like, I'm like, there's Jewish guys up in Toronto who are in metal bands. That's awesome. Like I guess I grew up in Queens in New York. And, it was happening there. I mean, there were a lot of guys in the late 70s, early 80s when I was like coming up, and, in musicians with in a similar type of vibe. And so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that it was going on up in Toronto, New York's.
He's a funny guy, this guy.
What's that?
I'm saying you're a funny guy.
And not intentionally, sadly. That's the problem. You know. And you know, I also didn't throw this before in last time, but I mean, 3 of my closest friends are in Toronto.
Really?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Yeah. Well, they're nobody in the business. Nobody. I mean, there's just guys.
Because you could invite them over to Lips's house. I'm sure he'd give them tea.
Oh, was that true, Lips?
Yeah, he would. Don't you think, Lips?
What was that?
Can I send my friends over? You know, one's right off college. Another is actually 2 of them are off college on a little street. And where's the other guy? He's not too far, but in the old Polish neighborhood near Roncesvalles. How do you pronounce it? Roncesvalles? Come on, help me out.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
The road, it's the street in the old Polish neighborhood. I'm trying to pronounce the name of the street. I always watch it.
Wenceslas. Is
Thank
it
you.
Wenceslas?
No, Rob got it.
What is it, Robert?
Roncesvalles?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Roncesvalles. Yeah. Okay.
Roncesvalles.
You'd have them over for tea, right?
Right, Steve? My friends, I'll send them up your way if you give me your address. Just text it over to me. Thanks a lot for that. I appreciate it. Now, moving on, because this is not exciting for people that don't know my friends up in Toronto. But it's the film is about dreams, holding on to dreams. So I know we talked about this before, so we have to pretend like we didn't. But guys, talk about, in a way, attaining a dream. Now that you you guys have attained a dream, you've reached like that goal or whatever you want to call it. And how has that changed your lives? Can you talk a little bit about it? Because after this documentary came out, you were able to, sometime later, I suppose, quit all your other jobs and just focus on your music finally.
Yeah, that's what happened, and we're still doing that. The band is a shitty day job. So
right.
You got it. You know what I mean? So we love to tour, we love to work, and we have to work.
That's awesome.
We happen to work at something we love, which is not like work. Right. Which is not when you do what you love, you're not working.
Exactly.
I'm hired into what I love doing the most. So that's basically the most. That's part of the dream, and that's success. Real success.
Yeah.
Doing what you love, you can't beat it.
Exactly. No, I dig it. And so do you have like new dreams then? What do you do? How do you, what's the next goal? I mean,
more. Yeah, the new dream. More continuation. Yeah, what else is there? The new dream is the same old dream. We got to get the big anvil, 80-foot anvil, mechanical anvil, Mothra flying around. We need to build the big stage show. We got to still get that done.
Yeah. and also Sacha, for you as a filmmaker, I mean, what's coming? Do you have other projects in the works then?
Yeah,
because you can only go another 10-15 years on this film, I'm thinking.
Well, it seems to have a lot of gas in the tank. I mean, look, we're only 7 years away from the 20th anniversary. Yeah,
that's right.
But I have a day job, and it's not a shitty one. You know, I've been working on the series The Crown, and I'm doing this.
I've not heard of that. Is it any good?
Don't know who they are. And working on this script with Helen Mirren that I think I'm going to direct. And so so there's lots of really good stuff going on. But you know, Anvil is such a special and very personal film, and it is about, you know, that's the whole idea, is to make a movie about 2 best friends who refuse to give up on a dream and keep going for it, and something magical happens when you don't give up, you know, because most people do give up. And so
absolutely,
maybe they rob them,
right?
You know, and I understand that there are probably very, very valid reasons for that. You've got to pay the mortgage. You've got to, you know, you mature, you become quote unquote sensible. But you know, sometimes there's something magical about just committing and going all in, which is not just very Anvil. It's very metal, and it's just that level of commitment, you know, is so rare. And I just wanted to make a movie to highlight that and hopefully provide some inspiration. And that's what we seem to be getting from the younger members of this new audience. It's very easy after 3 years of COVID or 2 years of COVID, you know, when you're not at school and you're on Zoom and, you know, you're in your pajamas for 2 years, you know, it's very easy to give up. And it's very easy to get depressed. And I think that's why they're responding. So I'm very gratified that this movie is still out there bringing people into it, you know, and it's also really lovely when a film is so personal because of my history with Lips and Rob and the band and being a roadie.
You were their roadie original, like going all the way back.
Yeah, to like 90. I met them in 82, 40 years ago, exactly. So to be on this ride still with those guys, you know, and taking so many unexpected turns and to be finding new audiences, you know, it's the 13th anniversary. I think, you know, in 7 years, if we're all alive, we'll do a 20th, and I'm sure that'll be even bigger. So we'll see.
I'm seeing Anvil at 50. I'm already got it all planned out. So totally. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you remember when we were young guys, kids coming up, the idea of like Mick Jagger and of whomever, I don't know, everybody chooses Jagger, but of all that generation, Townsend, all those guys from, you know, that they would be performing into their 70s, and even now they're hitting their 80s, and there's some cases still playing. I mean, nobody could conceive that could be a career for so long. So you guys, you're still middle-aged as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
Right? I mean, nobody has. Who's making the rules about how long you can play? It's like, who said that you had to stop playing when you're 50 or 40?
Everybody's breaking the rules of who can still be playing. Exactly. Come on, we just saw Gordon Lightfoot, 83 years old.
I know. He was playing right up here too.
It was awesome. Not just good, it was awesome.
Well, he's got that Canadian tiger blood thing going. You know, right? Hey, so when I have to wind it down, I'm being told, but when you guys are on the road and you maybe run into, you know, your fellow musicians, colleagues, whatever, compatriots, and you haven't seen them and they've seen the documentary, do they treat you differently? Obviously they do. I mean, I'm guessing, but I just thought maybe, what are they?
We're going to see complete turnarounds in some people, you know, where they acted completely indifferent and somewhat, you know,
snooty,
condescending.
Right.
All of a sudden, you're their best friend.
Right.
You've seen that too.
It's a gift in a way to be able to be where you are, because you can tell you have the sort of, you know, who is got your back and who doesn't, you know, because of all the experiences you had before the documentary and since.
Yeah, it's pretty enlightening, and sometimes it's not nice stuff. You know, there's you know, it has an underbelly that can be pretty grody. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Because the more successful that you get, the more there are of people that wish you weren't.
I understand. Right. Everybody's rooting for you until you're successful.
It just comes with it. It's part of what humanity is made up of.
It's just that's part of the element. Like even with me, you know, when I went off to Hollywood and I said, I'm going to go and make films, and, you know, all my friends were like, yeah, great. See you in a few months. Good luck. You know, and when you actually do it, you know, after so many years, there are those people who are just like, they're not happy for you, man. They're just not, you know, it's just human nature. Maybe something didn't work out with them that they wanted. And then there are those people who are generous of spirit, who take it like, well, if you can do it, so can I. It's really like success is a real Rorschach test for the people around you, you know, and I have to say, there are just people, you know, who are negative and jealous, but thankfully many more people who draw inspiration from someone's success.
Well, that's what you get from these guys in Anvil, because they were, if you remember the festival, and you saw nothing but adoration from, especially from Lips. I mean, you know, you're always kind of the more outgoing of the two of you, news to Rob, I'm sure, but you know, you were a fan first, Lips, right? I mean, and you were always supportive, and that's why we love you. That's why we love you, you know, frankly. And that's why you did so successfully with the film, Sacha.
And well, it was also last night, the seeing the audience now, they cheered this thing, which Lips says after he comes back off what is ostensibly a fairly disastrous, underfunded European tour. Lips is interviewed in the car and he said, look, Tiziana said she was passionate and loved the band. And
that assessment, exactly.
And he says, at least there was a tour for things to go wrong on. And the audience cheered.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have that attitude, because shit is going to go wrong. You are going to fail. You are going to, and it's like, what is your attitude about it? And if you maintain a positive attitude, guess what? Calmly, positive things will happen. If you just fall into the kind of the fear and the bitterness and the fuck that and blah, 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 then, that's what manifests. But that's the trick, is the attitude to persist and really not take failures personally and not take the ups and downs too seriously, and try and find that positive shard of light, because if that's what you're focused on, that's what you will get. It's that simple. And so that's what I loved last night, was for the first time the audience cheered.
Yeah.
Lips said that, because that's the attitude we need right now with the kind of the energy crisis and the world's falling to pieces. Every time I turn on the news, it's like a disaster after disaster. Pakistan's flooded and the central bank is, exploding. And, it's like, thank you, Dina. If you don't have, a positive attitude, it's all over, man. It's like, okay, well, then let's just give in to the tide of negativity. And I think it's so important to have stories out in the world that really speak to the audience, reminding them that what you see is what you manifest, essentially, and it's so easy to be pulled under the tide. But it's so important to remind yourself not to be. And that's why we need stories and films and bands to inspire us, and music and concert halls. And, art is so absolutely fundamentally critical to our survival spiritually, I think. And this movie, I think, has a really big spiritual aspect, because it's about, the first ever review that we got out of Sundance was this incredible guy, James Roque, and he wrote the review, and the headline was "A Hymn to the Human Spirit played loud in power chords." Right? That's what this movie is. He got it absolutely right.
Well, we've lost Lips and Rob. So, just tease. No, I mean because I understand. I still love them. I'll never stop loving them, and I love you, Sacha. One night, Anvil, the Story of Anvil, remastered, back on the road, better than ever. One night event on September 27th across 200 plus theaters, and then a new theatrical across the United States. Thank God for Anvil, the Story of Anvil, and Robb Reiner, and Steve Lips, Kudlow, and Sacha Gervasi.
Just go to anvilthefilm.com. You'll find out where it's playing in your city or near it.
I'll put the link in at the end.
Thank you so much, Adam, man.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. And now repeat what you said as we were being cut off last time, which was about me being a really nice guy. That was really... I have
a lovely fellow.
And it's my birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, guys. You want to pull out the guitar and sing to me? No, I don't think there's time. But play something for me in the future, in your heart. That's all. That'd be great.
We'll dedicate a song to Adam.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Guys, have a great time. Really nice seeing you guys again.
Okay.
All right.
Take
care. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye, Sacha. Thank you, Sacha.
Thanks. No worries, man. Daniela